Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to talk about something called emotional labor. I just read an article right now. I literally just read it about emotional labor and sort of how women are almost always the ones shouldering all of the emotional labor, not just, in their relationships or in their families, but also like in the workplace and things like that. And I started reading the article because we hear the term emotional labor a lot. I've seen it thrown around a lot on social media. And I kind of had one perception of what it was. And, reading the article, I did kind of see that it's sort of a kind of, I don't want to say broader term, but it does encompass a lot. And it's definitely something that can be very, very difficult for chronically ill people, but also a common, um, something that will commonly come up throughout your life as a chronically ill person. So, what I understood emotional labor to be is sort of kind of maintaining a kind of good demeanor to keep people around you feeling good, sort of being the helper, being the confidant, being the just kind of shouldering not just your emotions, but other people's emotions as well. And this has sort of come up recently because uh, right now I'm by myself at home. Usually when I'm filming these videos, it's because everybody's gone. I do still live with my parents because of my medical stuff, but I don't do these videos when they're here, partly because some of the topics, what I talk about is usually pertains to illness. And that's something that they just don't like to hear about. On top of the fact that some stuff they may not be open to hearing. And so I don't do these videos around them. That is actually emotional labor, sort of avoiding bringing up the topic around them because it's something that makes them feel uncomfortable. So that is also emotional labor, is making the effort to not talk about my illness in their presence because it's hard for them or something. So even something small like that you know is um is considered emotional labor. But that's why I do these videos when they are not here. And on top of them not being here, my sister and her husband and their dog have also been staying with us because they had some kind of a flood in their bathroom, and now they're undergoing, the insurance process and construction and all of that. So there have been five of us here in this house and two animals. And I was recently talking to my therapist about my sister being here and how, she has a lot going on in her life. She has in laws, she has all of that. And the first week she was here, she was working from home, which would be here. And it was just a lot of, hearing about all these things that are going on with her in laws and just the whining and all of that. And another part of emotional labor is sort of shouldering that burden and listening, lending a listening ear, which always tends to fall on women. Um, but, kind of being a sounding board for someone's complaints and all of that. And I realized what I shared with my therapist was that I realized I didn't like it anymore. It was something that I just didn't like. A few years ago, I may have enjoyed that kind of gossip or hearing about all the drama with the in-laws, because I myself have experienced that as well. But um, it was eye-opening, and it was something kind of new to me that I just really, not only did I not enjoy it, I really didn't want to hear it. I wanted the conversation to end, and I wanted to go back to my room, and I didn't want to listen to her anymore. um, that is emotional labor. And so I'm starting to, I have talked about sort of having a zero tolerance policy. I think I did that video this past summer. I'm sorry, not this past summer, this past spring. It might have uploaded a few weeks ago about my zero tolerance policy, where I don't want to deal with people's behavior, or I just don't have the patience for it. But this is kind of something different, where I'm not people pleasing anymore. I'm not, um, what is the word? Assuaging people's feelings. I'm not sure if I said the word correctly. When my parents left for vacation they actually left yesterday morning. My mom looked at me, and she always has to say these things when they go on vacation, when they take a trip, because I don't go with them. I don't, I really can't because of my, physical issues, but also because of my diet, and I have to be on oxygen and all of that. And so she always says something like, I really wish you could go with us. I wish you could be with, I wish you could go along. And, you know, I feel like that is just sort of it makes me feel bad. And I've kind of gotten to the point where I just don't no longer feel bad. I actually have never liked vacationing with them ever. They are not pleasant people to vacation with, even prior to my illness. They were never fun people to go on vacation with. But I am, I no longer feel the need to be like, oh, I wish I could be with you guys. I actually don't think I've ever said anything like that because I don't like vacationing with them. Um, and so I was just like, well, I have things to do here, and I have to take care of the dog, that, all that kind of stuff. I kind of try to give it a different spin, like, oh, it has nothing to do with my illness, right? So that is technically some emotional labor there. But throughout this whole thing, the last, 2 weeks of having, five people here in this house, I am no longer participating in, helping out, helping to clean, feeling bad for my mom. We recently did have an issue with my mom where she had to go to the hospital because of a heart thing. And I found myself right away like, okay, having to clean up, having to wash dishes, having to do this, having to do that. I got to help her because she's stressed out. That's why her heart is having issues. It turns out she was fine. But I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna go out of my way just because my sister's here and their dog is here and the house is getting much, much dirtier, much, much faster. I'm not going to chip in here because this is not my responsibility. This was not my choice. And, I'm just, this is not my place to do this anymore. It's not my responsibility. We also got a new dishwasher, and I told my mom, I said, I'm done washing dishes. I'm no longer gonna wash dishes. We have a dishwasher, a brand new one that works just fine. If she wants to wash dishes, that's on her. I'm done washing dishes. And the reason I would wash dishes and the reason I sometimes will help clean is not because she needs the help. It's because I don't want her to be angry and I don't want her to be stressed out. And I'm over here sort of like, I don't want this to be a burden for her, an emotional burden or a physical burden. So again, that's doing emotional labor for someone else. And like I said, she came out of the hospital. She's telling all of us she's fine. The doctor said she was fine, that it's stress, this and that. So again, what am I, I'm not preventing a heart attack here or anything like that. If she chooses to, she washes dishes from this point on, that is a choice that she's making because she does have a dishwasher that can wash them for her. So if she's washing dishes, that's a choice she's making. The same with my sister being here. My sister does not have to be here, even though my mom feels that she has to have my sister here. She actually doesn't. My sister is getting paid by her insurance to stay somewhere. They're getting paid by the day to pay, a hotel or wherever to stay. So again, I'm not going to be pitching in and cleaning up because I don't want someone to be angry or because I want to lessen my mom's workload when this was a conscious decision that she made. And all of that, when I read this article, all of those things fall under emotional labor, where you're considering the feelings of other people and doing all of these things in order to make them feel happy or make them feel good and make them feel kind of cared for and that kind of thing. Um, this has also happened recently with men with I don't want to say dating because I'm not actively dating, But there have been, during the pandemic, there were a handful of men that found me on social media or, that kind of thing. And I started to notice, because obviously we were in the middle of a pandemic, these men had no intention of meeting with me or going out on a date or whatever. They were looking for someone to perform some type of emotional labor for them because they were feeling lonely, or they were feeling um, scared or whatever. And I started to pick up on that after a couple of guys just strung me along for months. And I thought to myself, well, we're never going to meet. The circumstances being what they are, it doesn't seem like we're going to meet. And it doesn't seem like they've made really any kind of plans to meet me. And so I started to put the pieces together that they were looking for someone to comfort them. They were looking for someone to text with. They were looking for someone to just kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say baby them, but to sort of sweet talk them, sort of like a pseudo girlfriend. And I started to realize that, and it really made me angry because months went by and I was like, what's happening? I mean, obviously, I could have stopped talking to them a lot sooner. Um, but that is all emotional labor. These people are expecting you to sort of soothe them, give them some kind of companionship. And a lot of times they're not doing the same in return for you. They're not going to do that. They're looking for something for themselves and not looking for that. And they're not looking to give anything in return, which, it's still a strange situation. Um, so I've kind of learned to just stop doing that. When it comes to family parties, if it's not here at our house, I'm not going to make the effort to go out there. Unless I'm feeling great, I'm not going to put pressure on myself to go out there. And I think I did a video of this recently. I actually have the notes here. Listening to your body and your intuition. That was a previous video that I did. And sometimes if I'm not feeling it, I'm not going to go. And we had this sort of this thing ingrained in us since we were children where you have to. If there's a family party, you have to go. If there's a funeral, you have to go. I didn't know that I had a choice until I was well into it, actually, until I got sick. It was never a choice. It was you have to. Family vacations, you have to go. And now I'm learning that that's, again, me going was just to keep my parents happy because I didn't want to go. And like for, with the example of this vacation, could I have gone? Yes, it would have taken some effort, but yes, I could have gone. But again, I'm not going to do it because I'm soothing somebody's anxieties or because they feel bad or because I have to pretend to be normal. And that's something that a lot of chronically ill people do, is pretending to be normal or healthy when you aren't. And I did do that quite a bit throughout my earlier illness until I literally was no longer able to, I mean, physically was no longer able to do it. And all of this is on top of physical strain, it is emotional labor. And this is just something that's huge for chronically ill people. When I was reading the article, I was like, this is a chronic illness issue. It's not just a women's issue, but it is, a chronic illness issue. And it actually doubles up when you're a woman and you're chronically ill. For example, when my mom was in the hospital, I was the one texting my brother and sister and giving them updates and letting them know what had happened. And again, I'm sick. That really shouldn't be my responsibility, but I was the woman. I was the female. My dad was in charge of taking my mom to the hospital. And so I was here at home and I was the one, texting and relaying information to my siblings. So, it's a huge thing. I mean, I was reading it and thinking to myself, this is a chronic illness um, problem because we are constantly having to make other people feel comfortable around us and around our illness. And it's very, very unfair, and it's really not something that we should be having to do. It's difficult. It's difficult to break out of it. I've only broken out of it because I had to, because physically I was no longer, capable of doing these things, or else it would just make me even sicker. So it was almost by um, force that I had to stop, you know, being, emotionally responsible for everybody else. So that's my rant. It really came to me very quickly because that article, like I said, it hit a nerve with me because, it was more geared towards women and why women are the ones performing the emotional labor. But for me, chronically ill people are constantly having to do this kind of stuff. And it is just so stressful and very, very unfair. Um, but if you have any examples of how you're still having to perform emotional labor within your family or within your relationship, um, go ahead and post them down in the comments. I think this is also one of the reasons why I'm very hesitant or even reluctant to even get into a relationship. As I've gotten older, I have, it's sad to say, I've seen the reality of what relationships are. And a lot of times it's just the woman, caring for the man, providing caregiving, and being sort of like a second mother to a guy. And I didn't really think of it that way before. I didn't really seem to even have a problem with it before. And now that I've sort of had time to, being single, and really thinking about it, like I said, the experiences that I had with men during the pandemic, that is the expectation. The expectation is that I'm going to be taking care of them physically, emotionally, and in every possible way. And as a sick person, you just can't anymore. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Like I said, leave some examples of your own in the comments. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out my series on chronic illness and clothing. I'm going to try to get some videos up throughout this time that my parents are on vacation. It's a short weekend, but I'm going to try to get up some videos. That way we have some more stuff. I have more stuff to give to you guys, hopefully through the summer at least. So thank you for joining me today, and I will see you again very soon. Take care.